Assalamualaikum viewers, this is Engineer Rahman and welcome to my channel Civil C. Viewers, in this video I am going to give the introduction of Primavera P6. Let's start our video. Primavera begins in 1983 with the launch of PC-based software for engineering and construction. Oracle Primavera P6 is a project management tool, program and portfolio management application used to plan, manage, execute projects. It is meant to address both big and small projects across a range of sectors, including construction, manufacturing, energy, and information technology cost estimation of projects. Oracle Primavera P6 Professional Project Management gives today's project managers and schedulers the one thing that value most is the control. Moving forward, Primavera P6 Professional Management, the recognized standard for high-performance project management software, is designed to handle large-scale, highly sophisticated and multifaceted projects. Next, it can be used to organize projects up to 1 lakh activities, and it provides unlimited resources and unlimited number of target plans. Moving forward, Primavera P6 is used for planning, tracking and managing projects or programs. It can be used as a standalone tool or a web-based Pro ID program, or even it cloud-based. Usually used for creating project schedules, budgets and tracking project progress, etc. Moving forward, Primavera P6. Why Primavera P6? Because of its uniqueness among all project management tools. Unique features are listed here: timelines, risk management, analyze and reallocate resources as needed, calendars and activity interfaces, contract management. Moving forward, planning and control. Two major areas of management: time management, which is schedule, cost management, budgeting. Three parties involved: client, consultant and contractors. Basic documents: contract agreement, bill of quantity, drawing. Two phases involves planning and execution. Planning phase: time management, schedule, project name, work breakdown structure, activities, estimated duration, milestone has 0 duration, linking of activities or dependencies. There are 4 types of dependencies: start to start, start to finish, finish to start, finish to finish. These are also called as relationships. Critical path method, critical activities, non-critical activities, relationship and dependencies. Here you can see that when activity A finish, the activity B starts. Finish to finish, when activity A finish, the activity B also finish. Start to start, when activity A starts, activity B also starts. Start to finish, when activity B finish, the activity A starts. In practical, this is very rarely used relationship. Moving forward, critical path method and floats. Critical path method: an application of critical path technology to control the project schedule. Total float: amount of time and activity can be delayed without delaying the project finish date. Free float: amount of time and activity can be delayed without delaying the successor activity. Critical path: the longest path having 0 float or slack is called the critical path. Non-critical path: the path having total float slack is called the non-critical path. Here you can see that total float is equal to late start minus early start. Free float is equal to early start of the successor activity minus early start of the activity minus duration. Moving forward, lead and lag. This is activity A. Here is finish point, and when the activity A finish, then the activity B start. But the activity A finish one day before the finish date. So the time of the gap of one day that the activity A finished earlier is called the lead. Here is the margin of one day that the activity B can started one day earlier. So lead is equal to finish to start minus one day. And now lag. Activity A, this is the finish point of activity A and the start point of activity B. When the activity A finish, then due to some reason, site restriction or resource restriction, the activity B could not be started and hence delay for one day. So the delay of one day is known as lag. Lag is equal to finish to start plus one day. So lag will have the impact on the project delay, and lead have the impact on the project early finish. Activity table and typical activity detail. Here is the activity table. In this column, all the activities are being placed, and in this column, the predecessors are placed, and in this column, durations of the activities are being placed. So this is the typical layout detail of the activity. Here you can see that total float is being shown and free float is shown on the bottom. Here is the early start, activity ID, early finish, late start, activity duration, and the late finish. So with the help of this table, I will give you example, explain the activity network diagram, and from that you can find the critical part, total float, free float, each and everything. So moving forward, here is the CPM activity network diagram. So you can see that the path A, B, D, G, H is equal to 23 days, path A, C, E, H, G, H 20 days, and the path A, C, F, H is equal to 17 days. So first of all, activities in this column, activities are being placed, and in this column, predecessors of the activities are being placed. So here, start from left side. This is the first activity A, and you can see that there is no predecessor of activity A. So the next activity is activity B, and the predecessor of activity B is activity A. So the predecessor for activity B is activity A. The predecessor for activity C is activity A. The predecessor for activity C is activity A. The predecessor for activity D is activity B. The predecessor for activity D is activity B. Predecessor for activity E is activity C. The predecessor for activity E is activity C. You can see that. The predecessor for activity F is activity C. The predecessor for activity F is activity C. The predecessor for activity G is D and E. The predecessor for activity G is activity D and activity E. Here you can see that. The predecessor for activity H is F and G. The predecessor for activity H is F and G. So this box is for early start, and as early start is 0, and this is the duration of the activity A. All the durations of the activities are mentioned in this box. You can see that. So 6 plus 0, this is the early start plus the duration is equal to early finish. So early finish is 6, and here the early finish, we can move forward the same value to the successor activity. So this 6 is moved forward to two successor activities B and C. You can see that 6 and 6. The 6 become the early start of the activity B and activity C. So 6 plus the duration of the activity B, 6 plus 5 is equal to 11. Here 6 plus 4 is equal to 10. So this is the early finish of activity B and early finish of activity C. So moving forward, this early finish, that becomes the early start of the activity D. So moving forward, 11 will become the early start of the activity D. So early start plus duration of activity D is equal to 18. That's become the early finish. All the moving forward, all these activities here, you can see that 6 plus 4 is the early start of the activity C. Now there are two successor activities of the activity C, E and F. So this 10 will move to both E and F and become the early start of the both activities. So 10 plus 5 is equal to 15. That's become the early finish of activity E. So there are two early starts D and E. The early start of D is 18 and the early start for activity E is 15. So out of these two, whichever value is greater, so we will move it forward. So 18 will be forwarded and that becomes the early start of activity G. So early start of the activity G plus their duration is equal to 21 days. Similarly, this 10 plus 5 is 15 and moving out of these two, 21 and 15, 21 is greater, so we'll move forward 21 and that will become the early start for activity H. So 21 plus 2 is equal to 23 and the early finish for activity H is 23. So the late finish is also become the 23. So this is the forward path which I was explained, and now I am going to explain the backward path. So late finish minus in the forward path, the duration is being added, and in the backward path the duration is being subtracted from the late finish. So 23 minus 2 is equal to 21. That will become the late start. Late finish minus duration is equal to the late start. Okay. So moving forward, 21, that will become the late finish for activity G and the late finish for activity F. So 21 minus 3 is equal to 18, late start, and 21 minus 5 is equal to 16. That will become the late start of the activity G and activity F. So activity G have further two activities. This 18 will move forward to D and E. So the late finish of activity D minus duration is equal to 11. That will become the late start of the activity D, and 18 minus 5 is equal to 13. That will become the late start for activity E. Similarly, 21 minus 5 is equal to 16. That will become the late start of the activity F. And out of these two, E and F, the late start of activity E is 13 and the late start of activity F is 16. So the smaller value will be in backward path, the smaller value will be forwarded. So this 13 is forwarded as the late finish for activity C, and here you can see that 13 minus the duration of the activity C is the late start for activity C, 9. And here you can see that 18 will forwarded as the late finish for activity D. 18 minus 7, 11, and 11 will become the late start for activity D, and this 11 will be forwarded and become the late finish for activity B minus duration is equal to 6. That will become the late start for activity B. So moving forward, out of these two, the smaller value is 6 and the 6 is forwarded as the late finish for activity A minus duration is equal to 0. So the forward path and the backward path I explained. This is not so much complex. This is simple and understandable. And now we are going to find the total float and the free float of all the activities and the critical path. You can see that this is the late start and this is the early start. Late start minus early start is equal to the total float. So we'll find all the activities on this path. They have the total float is equal to 0. So A, B, D, G, H. This is the path in which the total float of the activities are 0, and the duration of the activities are added, and that become the 23. So check another path A, C, E, G, and H. So there are floats. In activity C there is total float of 3 days. In activity E there is total float of also 3 days. So in this path their activities have the float and the duration also become less, 20 days. So check another path A, C, F, H. Here you can see that activity C have the total float of 3 days, activity F has a total float of 6 days, and also the duration is 17 days. So finally the critical path is A, B, D, G, and H. So moving forward, the next step is execution phase. Collection of project progress from site and recording of progress. Cost management. Cost management involves manpower, machinery, material. Manpower and machinery are in terms of hours and material are in terms of units, ton, CFT, SFT, and numbers. Expense, overhead, cost, activity, cost, total project cost. Cash flow, baseline, target, earned value management to monitor variance and project performance. So this is all about today's lecture. Hope this video found informative, and shortly coming back with the next informative video.